What's going on, guys? Yeti here, and welcome to my top 10 games of 2014. I just want to say a few things before we get into this little video. First of all, there are some games that are missed out on this list. I'm only going to include games on this list that I've played, so if I've not played them, I can't really talk about them as being my favourite games. So there's going to be like a little list on screen of like big games that people have spoken about a lot and got all hyped about that I've not played, just so that I don't get any comments like, oh, how have you not played Far Cry 4, or how's that not on the list, or whatever, you know what I mean? So I just put a list of kind of all like the main AAA games that people have buzzed about all this year that I haven't actually played. Also, I'm not going to include any early access games, so any games that I've played this year but aren't officially like fully released yet. I'm not going to include any of those. That puts out of the question things like Cavern Kings, even though I've only played a couple hours of that, and you know, just stuff like that. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get started. Number 10, Thief. So Thief, if you don't know what Thief is, you play as a thief. It's a first-person game, semi-open world. You know, there's a lot of different things to do. There's some side missions. You basically are a thief. It's a thief simulator. To be honest, when this game came out, a lot of people liked it, but a lot of people disliked it. There wasn't really kind of anything in between. It was kind of Marmite-ish. Like, a lot of people said it was like really bad and gave it like really negative reviews, but there were still some people that did really like it, and I was one of those people. It is like right at the end, like at the bottom of my list, but you know, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was very kind of similar to Dishonored. I think there was some inspiration come from there, especially with some of the supernatural elements, but it was a good game. I enjoyed it, I had a good time with it, and I'd definitely say it's worth a purchase. Number 9, Tales from the Borderlands. So this one I really enjoyed, but the reason why I've put this one really low on the list is because we've only had the first episode, so I guess you could technically say this is early access, but it's not. It is finished. It's just kind of different. I don't know. I don't really know how to say it, but I've seen a lot of people with Wolf Among Us on the list. I've seen a lot of people with Season 2 of The Walking Dead on their list. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put it on. But I put it low on the list specifically because it's only episode 1. We've only had episode 1. I don't know how the rest is going to be, but to be honest, I've really enjoyed episode 1. There's a lot of options. It's an interactive movie, but it still feels like you're doing something. So it's not just talking and that. You've got like action scenes. There's all sorts of stuff going on, and it's kind of interesting to see the way your story kind of unfolds when you're going through. To see what kind of early decisions you make, how they can affect the late game, and it's definitely worth a replay, because even though it took me a little over 2 hours to complete on stream, and currently going over onto YouTube as well, you know, there's all the different options, so it's worth, you can play it again and have a completely different experience the second time. So I think that the replay value combined with just the way it was made, solid port, solid game, I had a lot of fun with it. Number 8, Tropico IV. So Tropico is a kind of a city builder, but it's not just about building the cities. There's a lot of kind of political aspects to it. So the focus is that you're the president. So you're building the city, but you've got to focus financial things. There's like wars and stuff going on, alliances that you've got to make, people like rising up and all that kind of thing. And to be honest, it's a lot of fun. It can take a little while to get your head around with all that's going on, but once you get into it, definitely a fun game. And if you like city builders or that kind of simulation, I definitely suggest you check it out. Like I said, it's the 4th game in the series. I've been a huge fan of the whole series, but this one, it was definitely really good because it was just kind of different. The way, like, you start in one era and you work your way through the eras up to modern day. It just kind of had a lot of new features in it with like new buildings and stuff like that, and it's a good game with one of the best soundtracks in video game history. So yeah. Number 7, Ratchet and Clank Into the Nexus. So this game, for those of you who don't know, Ratchet and Clank 3 is my favourite game of all time, and Ratchet and Clank in general, I just love the series. It's just a brilliant series, just really good. But the thing with Into the Nexus, the reason why it's so low, as much as it was a good game and it had some pretty good story to it and everything like that, it was short, and it was short for a reason. Ratchet and Clank Into the Nexus was actually a filler game. When they actually made it, it was never intended to be a full game. They put it out there to have something out whilst they were kind of working on a bigger game. So there is something to come from Ratchet and Clank, which is good, because obviously I love the series. But it was just a good game because it was made with like all new technology. It was last gen, but it was still like it was all new technology, and it compared to like the old engine and stuff, and it just looked really awesome. It played really awesome, and it had an awesome storyline. And on the whole, considering it was only like 20 quid when it was released, I'd say it was definitely worth a buy. So if you're into any kind of like 3D action platformers and you've not played Ratchet and Clank, definitely go and do that, because Into the Nexus was a good game. Number 6, Titanfall. So Titanfall, the reason why I enjoyed Titanfall is because it was kind of the first next-gen first-person shooter we had. It was before any next-gen CODs. I'm definitely not including Ghost in that, by the way. Battlefield 4 wasn't really next-gen, so it was kind of the first-person shooter that came out with a next-gen focus. And on top of that, it was wonderfully balanced with the smart pistol, which everyone said was OP, but it wasn't, because you still have to wait to aim and stuff. They just balanced it really well. And it was just full of new ideas. The Titans, like that. It's been in games before with things like Hawken and stuff, but it was just interesting to see a multiplayer online, first-person shooter with that kind of focus. I've not really seen that before. And then it had like the fact that there were grunts in it, like AIs as well as the teammates. There were just a lot of new things in that map. The free running as well. It was just a really good game. Now, the reason why I decided to put this kind of lower down the list is because when the game, there's more stuff now. There's been 3 DLC packs, I believe, in total. When the game was first released, it just seemed a bit like it was lacking content. There weren't a great deal of weapons, there weren't a great deal of maps, and I just felt it didn't really have enough there to justify like 40, maybe even £50 to some people, and I don't know, it just felt like it was missing some stuff. But on the whole, it was a really fun game, and I feel like if you were to buy the game now, get the DLCs and stuff, then it would definitely be worth your time, so go and check that one out. Number 5, Wolfenstein: The New Order. This game was good. That's all I need to say. The game, it was a first-person shooter. There's been a lot of first-person shooters, but this one was different because 90% of first-person shooters that come out these days are hugely multiplayer focused. Like, that is their main priority when making a first-person shooter for 90% of the first-person shooter developers. This one didn't even have a multiplayer. That's how much it wanted to make a good campaign, and it did that. It made a good campaign. It was long. It took like potentially 10-12 hours to do if you were going through kind of just playing it casually. It was nice and long. It was fun. It was this is starting to sound vaguely sexual. There was a whole kind of choice of weapons. There was some kind of recognized favorites, like a submachine gun. It was like a Tommy gun, but there were like, kind of like some new weapons, like the laser weapons and stuff. It was imaginative and creative with the way it was set in like an alternate reality. For those of you who don't know, it was set in kind of modern day. I think it was slightly further into the future, or the past. We'll just say it's modern day, but it's if the Nazis won World War II. So it's pretty interesting. There's 2 different storylines going on that you can follow. There's actually a lot of story to it, which usually first-person shooter campaigns don't necessarily have a lot of story to them. Cough cough, Advanced Warfare, cough cough, Battlefield 4. But this one, it actually had a story, and the campaign, it was really good. It was fun. It was definitely worth money, and it had some awesome Easter eggs in it. So yeah. Number 4, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. So this one is kind of a little bit different. This one's kind of a weird one because Ghost came out last year. It was awful. I hated it. 90% of the people that played it hated it. There was just a lot wrong with it. It was a bad game. It was boring. It just wasn't entertaining, and a lot of people saw that as kind of COD kind of dying a bit. And I kind of saw it. I thought it was COD was going to die, and when Advanced Warfare was kind of getting its information released, like trailers and that, it just looked like a copy of Titanfall, and that's what a lot of people said. Obviously there's the joke of like Call of Duty Advanced Titanfall or whatever, but to be honest, it's come out now and I love it. It's brilliant, it's fun. The exoskeleton with like the boosting and the dodging and stuff is just insanely fun. The weapons are fun, the maps just work well. Like, I was kind of worried with like the kind of jetpacky based stuff with the exoskeleton that it wasn't really going to work, because it's difficult to control that kind of thing in a map that's pretty open. But they all just work. Everything just works well. Everything's at good levels. you know, there's buildings to jump on, but it's, you know, it's not like easy to get on the map or anything. Everything just like feels smooth and flows well. The weapons are fun. Nothing at the moment is particularly OP. There are a couple of things that maybe could get buffed and a couple of things that maybe could get nerfed a bit, but it's pretty balanced at the moment, and things are looking good for that game. Although that Exo Zombies thing was a little bit bollocks. Number 3, Jazzpunk. So this game came out like right near the beginning of the year, I believe like February time. This game was brilliant. This game is about £8 or something on Steam and £12 or something like that, so it's not even that expensive, but it's, you can get, if you go through and know everything, you can get easily 10 hours plus out of this game. There is so much to do, so much going on. You can do it in about 2 or 3 hours if you don't do all the extra stuff, or if you speedrun it like I do, you can do it in about 18 minutes. But the game, it's so fun and it's freaking hilarious. It's probably one of the funniest games I've ever played. It's up there with the Stanley Parable if anyone's played that. It's just full of jokes. It's a light-hearted game. It's a first-person kind of spy sim type game, but with like a kind of cartoonish attitude. It's full of jokes. It's hugely comedy based. There's a lot of exploration to it. A lot of kind of Easter eggs. There's even some mini games, and I'm glad I took the time to 100% that game because it was hugely fun. I had a lot of fun with that game, and I would definitely recommend that if you haven't already done so, you should check it out, because there's a lot of kind of laughing, like actually out loud, like not just exhaling out your nose. You will actually laugh and you'll make sound because it is a funny game. So yeah, play it, bring a friend along, show your gran. Jazzpunk is good. It's definitely good. That's my review of it. It's good. Number 2, Borderlands the pre-sequel. Yeah, this game came out about 2 months ago, and I have played the crap out of it. I've been doing a let's play of it. I've made a bunch of like different Easter egg guides on it and stuff, so you guys know I'm enjoying this game. I've got about 50 hours in it, which is nothing compared to a lot of the kind of big Borderlands players, but I've never been a huge Borderlands player. I've never played the first one. I probably got about 30 hours total in the second one, which it is quite a lot, but again, it's nothing to compare to some of the big people. But this Borderlands, a pre-sequel, I played it from start to finish and enjoyed every minute of it, and I'm still playing it this day. It's full of stuff to do. There's side missions. Things kind of come along as you go on, so even when you finish the game, you have a chance to do a second playthrough or to continue. And there's more missions that show up after you've beaten the final boss. There's always stuff to do. There's billions of guns, not necessarily literally, but there's so many guns. It's just a really fun game, building your characters. Each 4 of the characters have their own kind of special ability if you've not played the game, and they're all fun. It's just a fun game. Great game to play with friends. Obviously there is a huge co-op focus with it, with the 4 characters and stuff. But to be honest, I've never played it with another person, and I have hugely enjoyed playing it by myself, so I like it. Games are kind of forcing co-op on you nowadays, and I kind of like to be able to have the option of playing by myself, and I think this game did it well, because it was focused on co-op hugely, but at the same time, I haven't had a problem playing by myself. It was a ton of fun, everything just works well, and it was a good story as well. It was actually a lot of comedy in it too, which is always good, you know, nice light-hearted fun, I guess you could say. It was a good game, definitely. I'm glad I put money into it, and there's a lot of DLC to come, I'd imagine, because Borderlands still had a lot of DLC, so a lot more content to come, and there's already a lot of content in it, so definitely worth your money. Okay, so before we do number 1, I just want to give 2 honourable mentions that were pretty good games, yeah, pretty solid, that I played and enjoyed, but didn't quite make the list. And those games were Watch Dogs, which was a really good game. You know, there was a lot you could do, open world. I really liked how you could scan anyone and get details on them. It was like really in-depth like that. A lot of interesting technology in it, so go check that one out. That one didn't quite make it though, it just wasn't good enough to beat, but it wasn't better than any of the games that were already on the list, so there was that. And another game that I quite enjoyed was Rise Son of Rome. That game, you know what, that game, it wasn't great, and that's why it's not on the list, because it wasn't actually that great. But the reason why I enjoyed it is because a game called Spartan Total Warrior is one of my favourite games of all time, and it was very similar to that, so it was a little bit nostalgic. It was like a next-gen version of one of my favourite games, so that's why I enjoyed that, but at the same time it wasn't that good, so I didn't put it on the list. Okay, so, number 1, yeah, let's do this. Number 1, The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. So, this game, you guys probably could have seen this coming by now by the time I got to number 2, with my Let's Play, with all the videos I made on it in the first couple of weeks of it coming out, my Let's Play of the previous game. If you don't know what this game is, it's a top-down a kind of twin stick shooter. It's a roguelike, so it's everything from the floor to the items to the enemies you fight to the bosses you fight. It's all randomly generated. There's a bunch of characters you can choose at the start, hundreds of items, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of items, synergies. There's some amazing synergies. I'm not going to go into a huge detail of the game for people who don't know it, because the chances are if you watch my channel you probably do. This was a remake of the first game, and to be honest, everything's better. They've kept all the old stuff, all the old items, enemies, bosses, but they've added more. There's probably a good 200 new items on top of the hundreds that there already were. New bosses. Anything that was wrong with the last game, or anything that anyone ever complained about with the last game, has been fixed because they listened to the community. Brilliant soundtrack. You could play this game for hundreds of hours because there's just so much to it, and the amount of synergies you could get. I've probably finished about half the game, because there's this thing called Platinum God, which involves, to get that you have to have got all the items at least once, unlocked all the characters, beat all the challenges and stuff like that, and that's kind of 100% in it. And I'm about 36 hours in, and I've maybe done 50% of that, but it gets a lot harder as it goes on. I know some people are 100 plus hours in and they've not even got it yet, so there's a lot of content to this and a lot of replayability, and it's I think it's $10.99, or you can get it for £6 on Kinguin. So yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. If you loved it, show your favourite. It helps me out more than you can imagine. If you want to pick up any of these games for super cheap prices, for example The Binding of Isaac Rebirth for under £7, I know that, I don't know what it actually is, it goes up and down. Be sure to check out the link in the description to go to kinguin.net. Any purchases you make on that site will directly support me, as well as getting you a good deal on any of the games in this list. So yeah, Steam keys, Steam gift, Origin keys, all that jazz. I'll see you in the next top 10, guys. Okay, so just let us a little PS on the end, now the video's over. I'm going to make these top 10s a little bit more. This is my first one and I've never done anything like this, so if it's not great, I apologise. I didn't script it because I'm not that kind of person. I prefer to just talk about stuff. So I probably missed some things, or maybe at some point it sounded kind of crappy, but whatever. Deal with it, motherfucker. But yeah, so I'm going to do more of these in the future. They'll be vaguely scripted, I'll have some kind of notes and stuff to help me along, but they won't be scripted kind of strictly. And yeah, that's about it. Just know that there's going to be more of these to come, top 10 type things, and I'll see you all later. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys.